Dropbox launched back in 2007, and they really revolutionized the way that we collaborate online. Before Dropbox, there really was no mainstream solution to share large files. But after Dropbox, everybody you knew had multiple gigabytes of storage and they could easily send files back and forth. Today, we take that for granted, but I think in the 17 years since Dropbox has launched, things haven't gone necessarily the best direction for us, the consumer who needs to actually use these services. And I don't mean to single out Dropbox here, it's all of them, it's the entire industry. Instead of making things cheaper and easier to use, they've instead just bundled on extra features that honestly no one asked for. I don't care if I can edit PDFs or sign documents, I want to send files back and forth. That's the whole reason I signed up for you. And now you've got Dropbox saying things like, do more than store with Dropbox, but I don't want to do more than store. Storing is the whole thing. That's why in this episode of Server Savant, I'm excited to show you NextCloud Files. NextCloud is open source software, which means you can download it and run it on any computer or server that you want to. And it's got all of the features you come to expect from a modern cloud file sharing platform. Like there are shared team folders and you can sync between multiple devices. There's a good mobile app, there's a desktop app. Everything just kind of works the way you expect, except it's running on hardware that you control. Best of all, it doesn't really matter if you're a single user who needs a lot of storage, which would make you pay for additional users on most of these other cloud providers because they only give you, say, 5 terabytes per user for whatever reason. Well, if you need a lot of storage and you're a single user, no problem, just attach more storage. Or if you've got a large team and you really only need a terabyte or two, that's also no problem. There are no limits on the number of users. There's no limits on the amount of storage you attach. It's basically up to you. And don't even get me started on privacy. There's a lot of reasons that people like to self-host, but if you have to have a page on your website about how you handle government requests for data, well, privacy is probably going to be a concern for somebody out there. So there are a lot of reasons to self-host. It could be cutting costs, it could be privacy, it could be something else I haven't thought of. But the main reason people don't do it is the technical expertise or the feeling that it's going to be too hard to maintain the server. Now, this is Server Savant, and I want to encourage you to learn everything you can about starting up VPSs and managing servers, but I also want to remove the friction where possible. So let me introduce you to this product from Hetzner called Storage Share. You can see here it's powered by NextCloud. Basically what this is a VPS that you can start up with a single click, and they've got NextCloud pre-installed and ready to go. There's not even access to the console, so you really can't screw this up. There's no updating that you need to do. It's dead simple. By the way, this video is not sponsored by Hetzner. They don't know that I'm making it. I've got a link in the description if you want to go ahead and get started with it. You can spin it up for just pennies per hour. You can see they bill per hour, so it's actually less than a penny per hour. Try it out and see if you like it. If you don't, just delete it and you can try something else. But I mean, look at these pricing plans. They're pretty amazing. So I can have a terabyte of storage with 3 different domains. Now I know it says subdomains here, but what they mean is you can use a subdomain of your primary domain. So let's say you've got widgets.com. You could have cloud.widgets.com, and then you could have cloud.client.com or cloud.toysrus.com if you own Toys R Us domain. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, the only real limits they give you are on how many simultaneous connections you have, and that's basically because the server can only handle that many connections. So really what you're getting with these 3 different plans is a slightly beefier VPS. So like the big daddy over here, they call the NX31, can handle up to 200 connections. It's also just a faster server. So if you want faster speeds, you can get this one even if you don't need the 10 terabytes of storage. It's just a faster computer. All right, let's get started. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to get your own storage share up and running. We'll connect up a custom domain, and I'll show you around NextCloud a little bit. I think you're going to be pretty impressed with everything it can do. To launch your server, you'll have to have a Hetzner account. So go ahead and get signed up for one of those if you don't have it. Then you need to be in the console. Last week, I made a video about Writebook, and I also used Hetzner, but we were in a different section of their platform. We were in Cloud. So if you click on this grid of rectangles over here, Cloud is where your VPSs are, and we are right now inside of Console. So that menu item would show up if I wasn't already inside of it. Then we want to be on the New Order tab, and we're going to go ahead and minimize Manage Servers because we don't want one of those. What we do want is a storage share. Now, Hetzner makes another product called Storage Box. That is different, also a very cool product, but probably the subject for another video. So these are the same plans we saw on the other page. Go ahead and look through them, decide which one you want to get started with. You can always switch between the different plans. That is no problem as long as you have enough storage space available. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the NX11, which gives me 1 terabyte of data, unlimited users, control over my own data. I can connect up my own domain, my own subdomain, up to 3 of them, so I could use it for myself and 2 clients if I wanted to. I get unlimited traffic as long as I stay under 50 concurrent connections. Oh, and by the way, they even back this thing up for you. You get multiple backups per day that last 7 days. So choose the plan that's right for you and then click on the order button. On the next page, enter in an admin username, a password, and an email address that you want to use with the platform. It's also important to note that there are a lot of languages supported on this tool. These are the back-end languages of the server once you get going. So if you speak a language other than English and you'd be more comfortable in that, chances are it's going to be supported. Now, I do recommend using a password manager and obscuring everything here. I'm going to go ahead and just go with some very simple defaults so I can proceed to the next screen. So I'll hit continue here. And then this is the last screen. Go ahead and just check the box, hit order an obligation, and you're ready to go. Keep in mind, they're just billing you per hour, so you can always cancel and delete your server if you decide this isn't a good fit for you. But I think you're gonna like it, so go ahead and give it a try. After your order is complete, go ahead and click over to the Products tab here, where you should see your new storage share listed. So here is mine right here. This is the one we just spun up. I've got another one. This is what we actually use for our business, but we got the smaller one just to use in this video. Now, the next thing I'm gonna do is connect up my own custom domain. I know a lot of people are fine just using whatever domain they give you. It's this one. It's kind of ugly, but it looks a lot better and more professional when you share links and it's got your own branding on it. So why don't we go ahead and set that up? With the storage share selected over here, go ahead and click on subdomains on the left-hand sidebar. Click that little pencil, and then you're going to see subdomain name. And here you're going to enter in your full domain name with the subdomain. So like for me, I'm going to do cloud.serversavant.com. And then before you hit the add button, you need to jump over into your DNS manager. Now for me, I'm using Cloudflare for this, but for you, if you have a shared hosting provider, something like SiteGround, it's gonna be in their DNS zone editor, or maybe you're using GoDaddy and you'll look at their DNS manager. Just go ahead and find wherever you manage your DNS settings, and then we're gonna add in a very simple record here. So I'll click add record. For the type, I'm going to choose CNAME. A CNAME is a redirection. It's kind of just taking one domain and then sending it over to another one. So for this, I'm just going to enter in cloud because you can see up here, it auto completes it, cloud.serversavant.com. And then it even spells it out for you. It's an alias of target, and I'll enter in the domain that I got from Hetzner here. I don't think I copied it. So let me go ahead and select this. I'll copy it, and then we'll paste it in right here where it says target. Now, Cloudflare has this special proxy status thing. I'm going to go ahead and turn the proxy off for at least the initial installation here. Probably leave it off all of the time. If you're not using Cloudflare, you won't see that option, so don't worry about it. By the way, if you're not using Cloudflare, why aren't you? Is it because you're not sure how to use it? Would you like a tutorial on Cloudflare? Drop me a comment down below. If you're interested in switching your DNS management over to Cloudflare, you want to know what the benefits are, I'd definitely be happy to make some content about that. You know Cloudflare is basically free, right? I mean, you don't need to pay for it. Okay, with all that done, I'm gonna go ahead and hit save here. I have created my DNS record, and now I can go back over to the console, hit add, and it's gonna go ahead and basically check that the DNS settings are valid, and then it's gonna issue an SSL certificate. So it says processing right here. Just give it like 10, 15 seconds, hit this little reload button, and you should get a green check mark. All right, there it is. It is active. I can go ahead and check out my NextCloud installation. All right, so after a quick little onboarding sequence, this is what you'll see. It says good evening because it's nighttime here, but basically it's gonna be a normal cloud storage interface. There's a lot you can do with NextCloud, by the way, but we're gonna focus on the cloud storage file aspect of it for obvious reasons. I'm gonna go right up over here to files, and it's gonna look pretty familiar, right? It looks kind of like your Windows Explorer, your Mac Finder, whatever. You can see it's a file system, right? We've got folders. I can add new folders by clicking on the new button. From here, I'm gonna create a new folder. I could create a text file if I wanted to, but I'm gonna create a new folder and I'll just call it Dave's folder. And then I can open it up. I can drop some files in here. This is a picture, it's gonna upload. I can open it up, it looks really nice. And of course, I could share this file if I wanted to just create a link so I could share it anywhere on the web. I'll click right over here on the little person with the plus symbol. And then right here is the share link. I'm going to click right here, and it's been copied to my clipboard. And I can open this up in a private window, paste it in, and here we go. I've got a link to this file with a nice little download button. But what if I wanted to share this file with someone specific? Well, I could just enter in their name or email address right over here. And I can even do this with entire folders if I wanted to. So if I go back out to the folder level right here, I can see there's another share icon. I can click right there, and now I'm sharing the entire folder. But yeah, you can do all of the normal file stuff you'd expect. I can right click here and maybe move this or copy it to another folder. Like I'm gonna move it out to, there's a photos folder. I'm gonna put it in there. I will go ahead and move it over, and now it's out of this folder, it's empty, and I can find it inside of photos. I mean, this is just basic computer usage stuff, but it works perfectly. Of course, you can favorite items. So like if I like this picture of the coast here, I will favorite it and it shows up in my favorite section. There's a recent section where I can see all of the files I've viewed. Yeah, I mean, it's just everything you'd expect. It's very, very full featured. You never guess that I'm running on a $5 a month server. All right, so what about those unlimited users? That must be complex and weird to set up, right? Well, no, it's not at all. Just go over here to your user avatar, then go down to users and add in the users that you want. So I'll click on new account right here, and I'll enter in their pertinent information like a username, a password, and an email. And I can even assign them to specific groups. So one thing you might want to do is create a group for each department in your company. If you've got designers and developers or whatever you have at your company, you can set them up into groups. That way you can share folders or files with the entire group. And if someone gets hired or fired, you don't need to go in and manually remove them. Instead, just go ahead and add them or take them away from the appropriate group and you'll be golden. Another option is to use this for clients, right? So you could set up a group for each client and then their entire team could be added to that group, and you'll know everybody has access to the right files and they don't have access to the files that they shouldn't have access to, which is always kind of fear. You don't want to get, mix up private data, so you can easily sort it inside of groups. By the way, there are user roles and quotas. So if you don't want someone to be able to modify your account, don't worry, that is all set up by default, but you can control it over here. So my quota is set to the default quota, which I set up in the account settings, but I could give someone unlimited or 5 gigs, whatever is appropriate. Yeah, and if you're wondering, you can set up that default over here under account management settings and just scroll down to the defaults. And right now it's set to be unlimited, but let's maybe dial it back a little bit and give everyone 10 gigs. As for apps for your computer or your phone, just go ahead and visit nextcloud.com. Go ahead and hit download and you'll find apps for desktop and mobile. It supports everything. You get Windows, macOS, Linux, Android, iOS, super full featured. I mean, we're really just scratching the surface on what you can do with NextCloud. Files is just one component of it, but I think for most people, you could set this up and never really worry about anything else. You might want some niceties like on your dashboard here, you can set up a location for your weather. So when you log in, it shows the correct weather. That's kind of nice. Actually, one little pro tip on this, if you're in the US like I am, it's not going to display information in a manner that you might like here it's Celsius. So to fix this, just jump over into your account settings, go to your personal settings, and then under locale, you'll choose English, but United States. All right, there we go. That's much better. Let's head back to the dashboard. And there it is. That looks a lot better. All right, so NextCloud is super easy to use. I really think you're going to like it. Before I end the video, I want to show you a few more settings inside of the Hetzner console. So here we are under products. I've got my storage share selected. Now, what about those backups? What if you need to access a backup? To do that, just go under services. And here it is right here, backups. Now, because I just launched my server, I only have one backup, but if I wanted to restore to it, I could simply click right here and then select the version I wanted to restore. And it prompts me for confirmation, which I could either confirm or cancel, which I'm going to do right now. And there you go. That's how the backup system works. Super, super easy. Now, what about upgrades? What if you want more storage space? Easy. Just go over here where it says contract and then go ahead and switch account type. And you can see here the comparison matrix with the 1 terabyte, 5 terabyte, and 10 terabyte plans. Go ahead and just choose the plan you want to switch to and then hit order and obligation. Your account will be upgraded almost instantaneously, maybe 30, 40 seconds, and you'll have more storage available. Now, finally, I want to make sure this is totally clear. With Hetzner's storage box, you don't get command line interface access. You can't go into the console and basically run as root and run any commands you want. No, this is completely managed for you, which means you can't break it. They will do the updates. They will keep your software secure, which is really nice. But there are going to be times you want to run a few commands. And to do that, you go right under services here and then go to OCC. With OCC, we can run commands right from this graphical user interface. You just simply select the command that you want to run and then go ahead and enter in extra parameters and click the run command option down here. Now there is a huge list of all the commands that are available to you down here, along with some instruction about what they do and when you should run them. So go ahead and play around with this if you are a tinkerer, but if you're not, don't worry about it. You don't really need to use this section. All right, that is NextCloud, a really cool way to cut some costs as well as take control of your data. If you've got any questions about this video, make sure you leave me a comment down below. Hit the like button if you've enjoyed this content and get subscribed if you haven't already. My name is Dave Swift. I will see you in the next video.